Hello and welcome. I'm Charles Aite. Fuel prices are expected to remain stable at the pumps this Easter and the rest of April. That's a projection by the Institute of Energy Securities based on the changes in market variables and government-announced intervention beginning this month. Gasoline, that's petrol, sold beyond 9 cedis 20 pesos per litre, whereas gas oil, that's diesel, sold above 10 cedis 20 pesos per litre at most oil marketing companies. Joining us to discuss is Fritz Moses, research analyst with the Institute of Energy Securities. Fritz, grateful that I could be with us. Stable prices of fuel this Easter and the rest of the month, that's good news. But what are the main factors driving your projection?
Right. Thank you. So we looked at two main factors, actually. The international market prices and then also, of course, the CD rate against the US dollar. What we realized was that due to the restrictions that have been imposed in China, causing a drop down on demand for petroleum products in the Asian region, there was some sort of skepticism that there will be supply excess on the market because China is the world's largest importer. But unfortunately or fortunately, we haven't seen that yet. And the indications have been that with the scheduled monthly inputs or outputs from OPEC Plus of around 400,000 barrels per day, there's still the balance between demand and supply on the international market. And so with demand rather, with supply rather outstripping demand with China's demand cut short, it meant that the prices were going to fall. That's what we have been seeing, where prices started around $120 per barrel at the end of the last pricing window or the second pricing window of March, and starting the first pricing window of April around $109, ending around $98 per barrel. That has caused the current reduction in international markets. We've also seen that for the various finished products, LPG, petrol, diesel, gasoline, and gas oil, there have been some marginal drops in their price on average. And so we've seen an LPG price fall by some $3.72 per barrel, 3.72% from the previous price on average terms of about $906.18 per metric ton. It was now selling around $872.48 per metric ton. For diesel, it also fell by some 3.65% from around $133.95 per metric ton. It's around $1,092 per metric ton. Petrol also fell by some 1.06% on average then for the price from around $1,060 per metric ton. It's currently around $1,049 per metric ton. And this was, of course, expected to reflect on the local markets. But what we experienced in the last pricing window or this window was that the CD further depreciated by some 1.44%. So analysis indicated that selling the last pricing window of around $68, it's currently around $79, indicating the depreciation of the CD. And that is what's accounting for our projection that prices may remain stable because we expect the OMCs to cash in on this, on the fall in price on the international market with the station of the city.
I see that. But of course, we are also seeing global Brent crude price also decline, as you've rightly stated. But the question is, for how long can we expect these stable prices?
Certainly, we would all hope that the price reductions will continue for longer. But of course, the main factor has been that China has been unable to meet its demand because of the restrictions that it has been imposed on its largest cities. Guangzhou, we are seeing Shanghai, and several Beijing, even we are seeing some other provinces in China also experiencing these restrictions. And it may not linger for very long. We expect it to stay in place for at least a month. But going from there, when it becomes obvious that demand is rising again, and various factors of contributing to the geopolitical issues in the OPEC nations, where currently we are seeing a drop down in Russian supply on the market, and OPEC's refusal to increase its supply to add on the $7 million barrels per day extra that Russia is taking off we may see demand outstrip supply then. Of course, we've had the commitment from IEA and the US to release the strategic reserves, but that may not be enough to meet the glut that the Russian supply cuts would put on supply. And so we may essentially be seeing prices tick up from the second half of this year.
I see that, but of course, one other angle that we cannot lose sight of is the performance of the cedi. We're still witnessing some marginal depreciations despite the fact that the Bank of Ghana has initiated very rigorous policies to whip up its performance on the global market. Where do we see prices, the windfalls especially, considering the overall performance of the cedi this month and that of the months ahead?
Well, certainly we expect that the meeting between the Bank of Ghana and the BDCs would inure to our benefit as consumers, of course, with price stability or even dropping down to some point. But then again, even though it hasn't started or we haven't seen that effect in this window, we expect that it will kick in the subsequent windows that we will all be monitoring. We of course believe that it's a step in the right order that will force market prices to largely remain stable. And we are all happy that prices are falling now with the situation from China, because we also in March how prices skyrocketed to around $140 per barrel for Brent when the invasion of Ukraine happened. But of course, if prices are falling and our cedi is being strengthened with the central bank's involvement in the whole forex market, it's something that we can comment. And we believe that it will kick in the subsequent windows. But it will be better news going forward. At the end of the day, the national market prices, when they start picking up again at the second half of this year, we may see the cushioning or we may see the real impact of the forex intervention by the central bank.
Indeed, and we'll see how that goes, especially in the next window. Fritz Moses, grateful that you could join us. He's a researcher with the Institute of Energy Securities there.
Thank you.
Great. Now, the oil and gas industry in Ghana may, in the coming years, record a higher number of local participation. More Ghanaian students and researchers pursuing geophysical sciences as well as engineering are set to receive an in-depth technical know-how in the oil and gas exploration. Two geophysical software companies, GeoSoftware and DGB Earth Science, are assisting the Department of Physics at the Key University to train students and researchers. Here's more.
Local participation in the oil and gas industry still remains an elusive subject in a government spectacle. Despite the legislative instruments governing the subject, providing locals with the expertise for the industry is a daunting challenge. Professor Akwesi Echampong is an associate professor of geophysics at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
If you look at our gas, oil and gas program, there's a local component, local content, where those industries are supposed to employ their needs. But those people need to be trained well in order to be able to fit, to be able to compete. The fact that there's a local component doesn't mean that anybody at all can be employed.
Over the past decade, students resort to industrial training prior to the recruitment, a plight the management describes as worrying. Due to the lack of teaching software, graduates are only equipped with the needed skills by the oil and gas companies.
You see, if you are to send students somewhere, you are limited as per even the number of students who can be sent elsewhere to be trained. But if you have the software here and you can train them here, then that limitation is no longer there.
With the 3 softwares donated by the DGB Earth Science and GeoSoftware companies, students will be trained comprehensively for oil and gas industry. The software will also aid researchers to expand the knowledge base in petroleum exploration in Ghana. Dr. Cyril Boateng is a lecturer at the Department of Physics KNUST.
The DGBF Sciences is donating Open Detect seismic interpretation software. So that's used for the data we take for finding oil and gas. It's called seismic data. All right. So they are donating that software so that we can interpret the data that we get. All right. And then the second company, Joe Software, they are donating 2 components: Hamson Russell and then PowerLog. Those 2 are also for seismic interpretation, reservoir characterization. That just means that it helps us to understand what is under the ground so that we can know where the oil is.
Emmanuel Bright Kweku reporting.
You're still watching The Marketplace. We're going for a short break. We'll be right back. To stay with us. You're welcome back. Now, the Energy Ministry has charged natural gas transporter West Africa Gas Pipeline Company, WAPCO, to ensure continuous supply in making Ghana a power hub. According to the Deputy Minister of Energy, Mohammed Amin Adam, reliable supply of gas will aid the country generate enough power to meet demand in the West African region. The company has recently witnessed a surge in gas supply with over 200 million standard cubic feet per day from Nigeria and Takoradi. But speaking at the commemoration of the 10 years of commercial operation in Tema, Amin Adam is asking WAPCO to ride on experiences to access new markets. Here's more.
West Africa Gas Pipeline Company Limited, WAPCO, operates a 678-kilometer infrastructure which currently spans 4 countries, namely Nigeria, Benin, Togo, and Ghana. The infrastructure enables transportation of gas from Nigeria to demand points in the remaining countries. The celebration in Tema was in 2 parts, with stakeholders unveiling a plaque at Tema Regulating and Metering Station and later converging to celebrate the milestone. Deputy Energy Minister Mohammed Amin Adam says continuous supply of gas is a great factor in Ghana's quest to remain a power hub in the sub-region.
Particularly, the gas industry is faced with global uncertainties as well as opportunities on account of the European Union's search for new gas suppliers, higher gas prices globally, and declining financing for oil and gas projects as a result of the energy transition. It is therefore important for WAPCO and gas producers in our region to review our business plans with the view to taking advantage of new emerging markets, whilst pursuing our resolve to find innovative ways of financing gas projects in line with our policy to develop our gas resources as transition fuel for the transformation of our economies. We wish that WAPCO will leverage the experiences gained to further collaborate with other partners in the sector to make Ghana a hub for reliable, efficient, and cleaner generation of power.
Managing Director of WAPCO, Greg Germani, says the company is committed to ensuring reliable and safe gas supply with its partners.
That gas supply that went to Tema was a combination of gas from our facility at Takoradi, coming from the Ghana gas pipeline, the offshore oil and gas fields in Ghana, as well as from Nigeria, our original supply point. We saw in total, when you look at Tema, Lome, and Cotonou, over that 215 million standard cubic feet a day of gas delivering on it. We have gradually seen, with the improvement in supply now of both Nigeria and Ghana, we have seen growth at both Tema, Lome, and Cotonou as they increase the number of power generation converting from liquid fuels in a lot of cases at power plants to much cleaner natural gas. Great job by the One WAPCO, of course, great job by all our stakeholders.
Meanwhile, for former board member of WAPCO and Chief Executive Officer of Volta River Authority, Kukwa Oche, gas will continue to play an important role in Ghana's energy plan.
Most of West Africa, electricity from areas of surplus. Ghana right now is an area of surplus to countries where they don't have electricity. So this idea of regional integration is really fundamental to the region's success and to the individual country's success as well. And I think government recognizes that. Can we do it without it? The answer is probably not, What is nice is that gas is sort of in between. Gas is seen as a transition fuel, and we have a lot of gas. So gas could play a very important role in that energy transition while we look for other sources of power like solar and wind. So gas will play a key role going forward.
As part of the celebration, some staff who have served for 15 years were awarded. Other stakeholders, including VRA, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Treasury Authority, and Security, took part in the celebration.
Now, the prices of eggs are expected to increase after Ramadan. A crate of small-size eggs will sell at 30 cedis, whereas a crate of different-size eggs will be sold at 32 cedis. Addressing the media, President of the Ghana National Association of Poultry Farmers, Victor Oponleje, explained that the move is necessary to keep industry players afloat following an increase in cost of production. According to him, all efforts to get governments to subsidize the prices of key ingredients used in feed production have proved futile. We have more in this report.
An uncooked egg currently sells at 1 cedi, whereas fried or boiled egg goes for 1 cedi 50 pesos or sometimes 2 cedis. According to the poultry farmers, it is imperative to increase the prices to avert losses. President of the Ghana National Association of Poultry Farmers, Victor Oponleje, explains that increasing the price will guarantee constant supply of eggs to the market and keep farmers in business.
At the beginning, we were seeking for a subsidy on the maize prices because the way the prices were rocketing, it made it difficult for us to operate. Last year, around April, I think we went to the ministry to discuss with them. That time, the maize price was 100 cedis, but we saw it as unprecedented. But now it's gone to 180 cedis. So we think at least there should have been some kind of subsidy, but it's not forthcoming. So the only thing we can do now is to adjust egg prices so that farmers will also be comfortable. Otherwise, all the farms will collapse.
An agri consultant, Joseph Wise, highlights some factors that contributed to the increase in prices.
Somewhere in October, as an agribusiness consultant with my team and my colleagues, we forecasted that by February, March of 2022, the price of maize will be about 170. As we speak now, it's about 175 Ghana cedis. At the time we did the forecasting, the suggestion was that the government must give permit to importers to bring in maize to provide buffer for the system so that the prices will not rise in 2020. That was not done. The permit was not issued, as my understanding. So it's too late, and Ghanaians must brace for a tough time going forward.
An egg seller narrates some of the challenges as a result of price hikes.
The farmers are always increasing the price of eggs, but when we traders increase the price, the consumers think we are extorting them. Meanwhile, after calculating my capital and costs, my profit is either 50 pesos or 1 cedi. We are pleading with the farmers to reduce the price and be fair to us.
Well, the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness, Ghana, Anthony Morrison, joins us with more. Anthony, are there concerns? I mean, these poultry farmers are raising the fact that cost of production has increased, hence increasing the cost of eggs. Is this concern justified? Anthony, if you could kindly unmute so we could hear you better.
Yes, thank you very much. And yes, of course, I very much agree with my president for the Poultry Farmers Association of Ghana. The current concerns are very serious, and I think that we are in serious times. Prices of maize per 50 kg that used to be sold around 48 Ghana cedis for 50 kg in 2016 is now being sold for the same 50 kg at 170 Ghana cedis, and in some cases 180 Ghana cedis. We have also seen prices of soya also increase by that magnitude. That notwithstanding, prices of calcium, vitamins, all have gone up as a result of the Russian war and the global pandemic logistical disruption. So some of these things are major challenges. And in our own context, we have seen increase in fuel and increase in transportation. All this has put an enormous pressure on the poultry farmer. Now, going forward, you would expect that government should take some strategic steps to increase some buffer for poultry farmers, because this is the largest industry within our industry now that employs a lot of people. So if we are not careful, we are going to have a number of unemployment in the country, which also does not augur well for the country's economic indicators. Now, one will want to, or the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana has always been providing a number of advice to government as to what they should do. I mean, we know that there are some leverages that government can follow on to bring on board the private sectors to produce acreage of maize, soya, and rice and other derivatives for these poultry farmers. Innovative times is where we are. We need to put up our innovative thinking to make sure that some of these issues are addressed. The Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, ourselves, we are in the very 2 weeks to come, we will be adoring the Ghana Cooperative Farmers Project, which is in bid to encourage the corporate organizations to go into the cultivation of maize, soya, and rice across board. So we are doing something on our own, but we want government to come in with a more strategic support and to enhance this situation, because this situation will stay with us for the next year or two. And the only way we can avert it is to increase productivity. As we speak, the biggest global producer of maize and soya, Brazil, have increased from 30 million metric tons to 15 to 60 million metric tons, respectively. And as a country where we have a lot of arable lands, we can't sit down alone. This is the time probably we also need to start looking at the prisons, how we can also use the prisons. They have available land to farm a lot of maize and soya for the poultry farmers. So we need to do a number of things that I think that at the end of the day, we will benefit at the long run.
Indeed, Anthony Morris, I'm grateful that I could join us, and we're going to be following this closely, especially when we're expecting the price of eggs to increase after Ramadan. Well, he's with the Chamber of Agribusiness, and of course the country is feeling the real impact of the Russia invasion of Ukraine for weeks now. This is evidenced by the high cost of petroleum products, which translates into high transportation costs and rising food prices, as you've just heard. According to government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna, the situation has impacted the country's inflation in the last 2 months. Here's more of what he said.
The March inflation rate, the highest in 13 years, can be attributed to the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, which has affected food supply. This has widened the gap between food inflation, which rose to 22.4%, and non-food inflation rate, which stood at 17.1% at the end of March. This indicates that prices of food commodities have dominated overall inflation for the period. Here is government statistician Professor Samuel Kobna Ini.
If you look at the trend over the last 3 months, one would want to assume that the effect of the war in Ukraine, if anything, is now telling on inflation, given that for the months of January, February, the highest inflation was on housing, water, electricity, and gas. And now we're seeing the drift away from housing, water, electricity, and gas, and it's now telling on transport and food. So it's clearly the pronouncement that the war is having effect on these two items. That is why now we see a change around away from housing, water, electricity, and gas to transport having the highest division rate of inflation of 27.6%.
The Marketplace. Let's now bring you today's episode of Funded.
Hello everyone. You are once again welcome to your 1-minute financial business tips with me, Dr. Thelma of the Desert Dew Services and Consultancy. In our previous session, we talked about the originality of your idea. Today, we are going to talk about who you have on your team, i.e., make sure you choose your team wisely. Funders would want to know who else is going to work on your team. And so in putting a team together, always make sure that you bring in the right people, those with the right skill sets, those with the experience, and also the knowledge as well, so that your business idea can be pushed to the next level. Funders would want to know who exactly is on your team. One way of also convincing funders is that you have the right team, the people with the right skills, the right mindset, and everything it takes for your team to be a successful one. And so make sure that you convince funders that you have the right team at your disposal to help you use your business or put your business to the next level. Thank you for your time and see you in the next session. Thank you, Labadi Beach, for hosting us.
Choose your team wisely. That's how we end the Marketplace. I'm Charles Aite. Many thanks for watching.